That line of code is now pasted into on session start in application.cfc. Function WLSFunc now gets pasted into application.cfc. Now make the following 3 changes to WLSFunc. Website name gets changed to localhost because that's where I'm setting this up on. If you were setting this up on your development server and the website name you assigned was, for example, example.dev server, you would put example.dev server in here. If you were setting up your production server, then in this case right here I would enter example.com. Okay, the second change is you're going to change this question mark to a number, either 7, 8, or 9. That corresponds to the Coldfusion version that you're using. I'm using version 8, so I change that to an 8. One more thing you need to do is make sure this path, the relative path, is correct to the ins object cf8.cfm or whatever version you're using. As you can see, this is the application.cfc I'm setting up. So I go up one level and then over to WLS_CF and then down to the ins object. Then go ahead and scroll down and make one more change. This question mark here, again, change that to whatever version of Coldfusion you're using. I'm now going to set up my feedback messages to be used. I first uncomment the messages, the container, the strut that is going to hold the messages. As you can see, I uncommented message license error, message site block, and message IP block. I'm now going to pass in the actual message content for each of those messages. As you can see here, I'm just going to go with the default message for each of these messages. If you did not want to set up 3 separate messages, you could also use the message master, and that would override these and be displayed regardless of what the circumstances were for the feedback message being displayed. Each of these messages gets passed into function F3 down here. As you can see here, each parameter and the value that goes with it, each parameter value pair is separated with a comma. At this point, I go ahead and copy WLSFunc and paste it into any other application.cfc files. Go ahead and make this change. Make sure that this path is correct to the ins object file. In my case, I have to add in one more level. As you can see, this is the application.cfc I'm setting up. So I had to go up one more level, first level, the second level, to get to this file. You also have to paste in the line of code that actually calls WLS-func. So go back to the original application.cfc that you set up and copy and paste that line of code into all the other application.cfc files. If you are using Coldfusion sessions, you need to make sure that each test you run starts with a new session. On the PDF test page, there is a link that will take you to another page that will explain 2 ways to make sure that a new session starts when you open up the browser. So at the end of each test, you will be closing the browser, and then for the next test you will open up the browser again. We're now going to test the installation, make sure it was set up properly. Go ahead and click on the testing link, and in my case I am using Coldfusion sessions and I am using on session start, so I'm going to use test 2. Go ahead and print out the test and we'll get right to the testing. As you can see, there are a total of 11 tests we're going to run. I'm going to use index.cfm as the test page, and for the first test all you're going to do is open up the page and you should get access to the test page. Okay, as you see we got access. Go ahead and click reload and we still have access. Okay, we're now going to block the IP. So go ahead and uncomment array block IP. Go ahead and pass in my case, I'm setting up localhost, so I'm going to pass in the localhost IP, and I'm going to make sure that this IP is blocked. As you see here, I'm initializing it after the last var-scoped variable. Make sure you do that. Pass it into function F3. Go ahead and save your changes and go ahead and run your test page. Because we're blocking our IP, we should not get access. And as you can see, the message IP block has appeared. Click reload and we are still blocked, so that's working properly. Go ahead and change the IP to make sure we are not blocked, because we are no longer on the list, and run your test page again after saving your changes. And as you see, we got access because we are not on the list to be blocked. We are now going to test the access list. Go ahead and uncomment the array access IP variable and initialize that with your IP. As you can see, I have initialized it with the IP, and I'm going to now pass it in to function F3. I just copy and paste over the block array, save the changes, and we should get access. And my time is almost up. I will continue in part 3.